So Donald Trump gets asked an incredibly earnest and I think fair question by a supporter in South Dakota, someone who likes Trump but is struggling. And Donald Trump utterly whiffs the answer. Take a look.
What are you going to do about bringing down the rent and things like that in the economy? Because out of 8 children that I'm a father and a stepfather to, 5 of them are struggling, and I'm giving them part of my income on a regular basis. How are you going to make the economy not just the the food and electricity, but bring down the rent prices, the housing prices, so that these kids can survive and without their parents' help?
Such a good question, Mr.
Right.
President.
You're right. I hear it very well. And I tell you, first of all, I love the people that you're with. I know that I must have at least 99, perhaps 100% of all of them. And I think they're incredible. We are going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring down the cost of energy. Energy is what caused the worst inflation, I think, in the history of our country. Food prices are up 50%, sometimes more. You look at bacon. Bacon is quadrupled. You can't order bacon. You can't order anything. We're living horribly. We have the worst inflation we've probably ever had in our country, and it started because of energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill, and then we're going to have China and all of these countries that were treating us good when I was there toward that. I mean, it took me a long time to get them to behave properly. All of these countries are going to, again, stop. Like 4 years ago, I could ask you, you were in great shape. You had low energy costs. You had low food costs. Everything was good. You could buy a house. You had low interest rates, 2% interest rates. You had gasoline at $1.87. Now it's $5. And by the way, going up very substantially. But you had gasoline at $1.87 a gallon. Nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody even can believe it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. We've got to get the energy prices down, and everything else is going to be tumbling down with it.
Yeah, so that's just terrible. That's terrible. And again, I'm not speaking for the guy, the Trump supporter who asked him the question. Maybe he liked that non-answer. Maybe that made him feel better. I think that Trump did a massive disservice to this guy who likes him and is still legitimately struggling. He has a big family. He's helping out his family. He's being super responsible. He's been exactly what you want a person to be in this situation. And what did he get from Trump after saying, I need help in these areas? What are you going to do?
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
So Trump started by saying, I have all your votes. I have 99 out of 100. Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm struggling. I don't yeah, we're gonna vote for you or whatever. But what are you gonna do? Again, he makes it about himself automatically. First instinct, knee-jerk reaction, I have your votes. Super weird. So then he jumps into, we'll drill, baby, drill. That is the closest thing in that entire diatribe to a policy proposal to answer the question that the guy asked. And it's nothing, that has nothing to do with the food prices and the rent prices and all that. You didn't answer the guy's question. And also, we already export more oil than we ever have in history. We're the biggest exporter. If exporting oil could solve our problems, they would have been solved years ago. They clearly didn't solve the guy's problems because he just asked you about them. So drilling doesn't answer the questions the guy has. Then Trump goes off for a pointless, useless 30 seconds of prices are high. Food's high. You can't even eat bacon. You can't order bacon. You can't order anything. The dude knows that prices are high. He already said that. What are you going to do? He doesn't need to be told that prices are high. He needs to be told that you're going to do something. Stop saying bacon. So then he talks about energy again. Again, it's the only thing. You could give me like 5 things you're going to do to get energy prices down. Drill, baby, drill is one. It's also not an answer. That's all. That's all he has. And by the way, to the guy who asked him the question, you know how much price gouging happened during the pandemic. You know how much that drove the rise in both the energy you use at home and the price of gasoline. If it was just a thing of difficult times, then the cost would go up, but the cost to the industry would go up. Their profits wouldn't move. And yet they made record profits. They stole from you. And why is it that Donald Trump isn't doing anything about that? Why is it that he isn't even mentioning that happened? No mention of price gouging on food, on energy, on oil, nothing, okay? And I'm gonna give you an example of someone who could acknowledge it, but it's super weird that he won't. Okay, and then there's the lies, of course, the 2% interest mortgages. Okay, it was between 2 and 3, closer to 3 than to 2. Why is he lying about the past? And he also lied about gasoline. So he said that gasoline is $5 a gallon right now. Maybe in LA, not in the vast majority of America, but why would Donald Trump know that, I ask you, MAGA? Because he doesn't pump his own gas and he hasn't, if ever, in decades. And then there's the lies. So I'm gonna bring up this chart. This is gasoline prices by month. And you can see the gas prices aren't anything like $5 now at the far right of that chart. They're like at $3.70, $3.80 or something like that. And again, he doesn't know because he doesn't drive. He probably doesn't even know how to drive. And he mentions there, you had gas $1.87. Why doesn't anybody talk about that anymore? I have an answer for that. Would you like to know why they don't talk about that anymore? Because it happened for 1 month in the deepest depths of the pandemic, when almost no one was driving and demand was driven down to record lows. Yes, gas prices were lower for that 1 month. You can actually see that. If we bring the chart up again, take a look at 2020, you can see the dip. That's the thing that he's referencing. A dip that had nothing to do with his policies, that didn't even last. And he's implying that that had something to do with the Trump presidency. I'll remind everyone that the deepest depths of the pandemic were as deep as they were because he was a terrible president who totally abdicated his responsibility to help us during this domestic crisis. And so that's why nobody talks about it anymore. And the prices of gas aren't going up right now. They're not 5, they're not going up. They still could move down, but to do that, we're gonna need actual answers and he's got none. But that said, we do have someone who's willing to engage with these sorts of concerns with actual policies. So let's contrast what Trump just did, that non-answer, with this.
We lower the cost of living for America's families, so they have a chance, not just to get by, but to get ahead. Because look, while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. When I was Attorney General, I went after price fixing schemes. And when I am president, it will be my day one priority to fight to bring down prices, to take on the big corporations that engage in illegal price gouging, take on corporate landlords that unfairly raise rents on working families, to take on big pharma and cap the cost of prescription drugs for all Americans. That is the work we will do together. And all of this to say, unlike Donald Trump, I will always put the middle class and working families first.
So look, those are some specific things that she says we should do. There's a variety of things you can do in general to help our economy. And then in areas where there is obvious price fixing or collusion in setting prices or price gouging, you can try to do something about that. Now, do you necessarily believe that she will solve those problems? That's a different question, and we should have that conversation. But she is at least willing to acknowledge it. And it fits into what Biden has been doing throughout this year, where he has been trying in a variety of small ways to fight back against the nickel and diming that's constantly being done to the American people by these corporations. On the other hand, Donald Trump won't even mention it. And we know why. There's no ambiguity. It's because he doesn't serve that dude on Fox News asking about inflation. He serves the CEOs. He serves the 1%, or not even the 1%, the 0.1%. Those are who he actually cares about. And Harris, there's a lot that she needs to do, but she's at least acknowledging the problem. And let me just briefly mention to all of those people who are struggling, especially conservatives who are struggling, it isn't just that they don't have answers. They fight the answers that other people provide. So take a look at this article. Families face food insecurity in Republican-led states that turned down federal aid this summer. So millions of American children are going without extra food this summer after 13 states declined to participate in a federal program that helps families in need buy groceries. This is Summer EBT, or Sun Bucks, gives money to qualifying families who can then use it to shop at grocery stores and farmers markets. Unfortunately, in over a dozen states, Republicans decided we don't want that money. We don't want that free money. Don't care. You as a citizen of our red states, you send tax dollars to the federal government and they want to give us free money so that kids don't starve. I don't like it. I would rather that they starve for my pure ideological reasons. Them, not me. I'll never starve. I'm eating tons and tons of stuff, but they can starve because of my ideology, okay? All 13 of those states are led by Republican governors. In Florida alone, 2 million kids could have benefited. They were offered by the federal government $258 million, $250 million for food for kids. And DeSantis is just like, I don't want it. I won't take it, okay? I'm more interested in checking your kids' genitals, okay, to see if they should be able to play field hockey. I'm really focused on that. I don't care if they're starving in the meantime. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.